Does anybody want to volunteer on which one they picked and why? Okay, Sam, what do you got?
I picked the first one
Okay.
because if there's no time and you kick it, the ball will not come back down.
Okay.
But with time, after a while, it'll come back down.
Okay. So our main focus here, if we kind of look, it asks for two things. State the independent and dependent variables and give a description. Okay? And you were supposed to pick which one was the best description of the graph. Okay? So if I'm looking here, first thing we're just going to kind of hit on right away. Independent is time and dependent is height. Is that right? Independent time, dependent height. So that looks good. And then if we go over the other one, independent is time, dependent is price. That also looks good. So that is non-negotiable. They did a good job talking about independent, dependent. So what our focus has got to be then is the rest of it. A football starts on the ground when it's kicked. It gains an altitude until it reaches a maximum height. It loses altitude until it falls to the ground. Okay, so that was one description. The other description says price increases steadily, then it falls, and it increases, and it falls again. Out of those two, which one do you think I'm going to give full credit to?
First one.
Okay, why the first one though?
It gives more detail.
More detail. Can anybody else? Can you go elaborate on that?
It like talks about like the height, and it also talks like also gives a description like it doesn't come out and say but time, because after a certain amount of time it'll reach its maximum height, and then after that time the ball will decrease the height.
Okay. What do you think? I actually agree. The first graph is going to get full credit. This one is not. Why do you think this doesn't get full credit if I ask for a description? What are some things maybe missing here?
Maybe because it doesn't describe how it increases over time.
Okay, so she thinks that there's a time element missing a little bit. What else? There's something that this guy has that this other guy doesn't have. What does this guy have that the other one doesn't?
It doesn't say when it starts
And when it
and ends.
ends, okay? Guys, you have got to, when we start talking about descriptions and graphs, the start point and end point are usually some of the most important points. All right? Where is it starting at? Well, in this case of football, hopefully it's starting on the ground. All right? Unless he's just kicking it in the air, but usually we've got it pinned down to the ground and we're kicking it, right? It's going to start on the ground. And now, we don't know for sure if it's going to fall back to the ground. In this case, it's actually going to hit the ground because it's showing it hit the ground. But we know that somebody could also catch it, so it may not quite come all the way down to the ground. But what I like is it's talking about the football starts on the ground. It gives a start spot. It then talks about it goes up, comes back down. At the end, it talks about it falls to the ground. So start, what happened in the middle, finish. On this guy, there's no start, there's no finish, and it just talks about up, down, up, down, up, down. It doesn't talk about, so how can we fix this? If I talk about the starting price, we actually don't know the start price, so what could we do to say, what could we do to talk about that? We don't know an exact value, but what can we say about it? What do we know about that value?
That's kind of where it starts.
Starts at what? Zero.
Yeah.
Negative, positive?
It starts at 0. I mean, it starts at a positive.
Okay, so you just need to talk about that. We have a stock that's starting somewhere in a positive area value. We don't know where, okay, but it's not starting at 0 and it's not starting negative, so we need to address that, okay? It then increases. That part's fine, okay? Increases, decreases, but only for a short amount of time, and I think you should put that. That's important stuff. It decreases. Does it decrease all day? Does it decrease to the negatives? What happens? It just drops for a very short amount of time. Then it increases again, longer. Now, is this going to be a faster increase rate or a slower increase rate?
Slower.
Slower. How do we know it's slower?
Because it's going at a more of a horizontal angle than a more vertical.
Okay, less steep. Oh, less steep. What you said's right, but just less steep is an easier way to say that. So this is really steep, this is less steep. And then it stops. Now, does it stop higher or lower than when it started for the day? Higher. So you're still going to be a little vague about it, okay? But you can talk about all these points, and that's what needs to happen. Yes?
This is a trick question, and both of these are correct.
No. This is not going to get you full credit. This is going to get you full credit, okay? So A, D. There you go. There's a difference, okay? All right, so now if I'm looking at this first one here, okay, first off, let's identify the independent and dependent variable of this. So it says the graph represents the speed of a car as it travels to the grocery store. Okay, what's your independent variable here? Link, independent.
The ground speed of the car.
Independent, you only have two options on
Sorry.
independent, dependent.
I mean, speed.
Independent, what stands alone no matter what?
Time.
Time, okay? So this is independent, right? It's gonna always stand alone, guys, it's always your X value. Never, that's never a negotiation, it's always X. And then this guy's dependent, alright? You got that down there, bud? Doesn't look like it, let's go. Alright, so now, how would we start a description here? Start a description for me. What's going on in this picture?
Well, there's a square, and it starts at the bottom, and the line goes up.
Okay, no, I want a description based on the information they gave you.
Okay.
Okay, I mean, it tells you right here what's going on. The speed of the car as it travels to the grocery store. What is going on here? Tell me what's happening. Okay, John, try again.
So, the car is starting and it's like leaving, and so it's going to the grocery store.
Okay,
Starting from 0 speed.
I like that. So start speed 0.
And then it goes, continues going up, and then it stays the same, so like,
Constant.
yeah, constant.
Good.
And then it starts going down because you're getting into the grocery store.
Okay, and then we decrease speed to what?
0.
There we go. Okay, so right there, between the two of us, our description, you would talk about your start speed. So there's 1 point right there. So you would talk about your start. Okay, so the car is in park. You then would talk about, this would be part 2. So we got part 1 talking about the start. Part 2 talking about how we're going to increase in speed. You would talk about that. Okay. Part 3, I like what he said, talking about going the same speed or a constant speed. Part 4, he talked about decreasing speed. Okay, when I'm decreasing speed, were we decreasing quickly or slowly here?
Fast.
Pretty fast, right? We definitely are faster than we started up, right? Because it's real short, it's a real steep line, so it decreased fast. And then last point right here, we're going to talk about, 5th point, talk about finish or stop. Okay, where do we finish at? Okay, so guys, on a thing with lines, you're going to have a lot more detail. A lot more detail there, okay? All right, go ahead now. All you have is this picture. Write a description based on what you see there. Okay, so talk about start, ending, and everything in between.